Alright, so here's my route. You can see it's a nice slab. Bolts aren't so good. Bit run out, but hey, that's the fun. Up there, hopefully you can see a new anchor up on the head wall, and then down below an old poot sling anchor, nasty rusto bolts, Himalayan ring bolts, yuck. So obviously I'm going to be clipping the high one, so I got a couple draws here, big run out to the first bolt. So I had to select an anchor, obviously, underneath the climb. We got a lot of old, well, maybe not so old trees. They're not very big, so I'm choosing 3. 1 tree, 2, and 3. So you can see I've girth slinged each tree with a sling and a locking beaner. Now what I'm going to do is tie a special knot, which is going to be tied with the rope here. I'm going to tie a knot, one knot with 3 tails that will be equalizing all the trees. And I have here flaked out the rope. So the end that's on top here, this is the top of the pile, I want to be attaching that to the ground anchor. This will become the ground anchor. So, alright, now I'm going to show you how to make this special equalizing knot. It's, many people call it the figure 9, or the figure 8 with 2 tails, or the figure 8 with 3 tails, or there are many names for it. But I have a friend with a dynamometer who's tested it, and it's the strongest knot you can put into a climbing rope that we know of, and he's tested many knots, so quite confident with this knot. It's great for the minimalist rig. Alright, so I got 3 anchor points. They're all fairly close together, maybe about 6 to 8 feet apart at most. So 3 anchor points being 3 trees. They're already slung with slings and locking draws, so I need to pull out about 30 feet from the end. Better to err on the side of more 40 feet than 30 feet, because make sure you're climbing a short route. Always do the math beforehand, make sure you have enough rope to get down. Anyway, I'm tying a figure 8 there. So I'm essentially just tying a standard single figure 8 with maybe a 35 foot tail instead of your 3 foot tail for tying into the harness. So next I'm going to position the figure 8 knot under the climb, so it's going to pull in a direct link towards the climb, and then I'm going to clip, I like to clip the rope that's farthest away, the anchor point that's farthest away first. So I'll be clipping this tree first. So I pick a point in space that I imagine to be my master point where everything comes together. Points right at the anchors of the climb and evenly at all 3 trees, so there's no rubbing or anything. So what I do, follow that down. That's clipped into my farthest anchor point, and it's going to run back. Now I'm going to take the tail end of that rope, and I'm going to feed it back through the figure 8. I'm going to follow back the original rope. Okay. Pull it through around the top. I'm not following the figure 8 anymore. I'm just going from the bottom through the top and then back down into the bottom. So what I've got here is the original figure 8, but the rope went through, around, back down through the hole. Okay, now I'm ready to sling with that piece of rope my new anchor point. So now that I've fed the rope through, I'm going to pull that anchor point tight to the point in space I picked to be my master point, which probably is about here, give or take. Now I'm going to clip my next anchor point down here and do the same thing. Clip it in, take the tail, follow itself back up, always goes through the bottom and around the top. and then back through the bottom again. This way. Okay. Now, what I need to do is fix the rope so that the 2 anchor points add up to my point in space. Then I'm ready to clip the 3rd anchor point. So here's my figure 8 now. It's got the 1st anchor point with the 2nd anchor point and the 3rd anchor point, 3 trees. So let me show you how to finish it off. You could do this for as many trees as you like, but the figure 8 knot would get a little crazy. 3 trees is about the max I'd like to do, or any anchor point, 3 anchor points, but 2 anchor points is definitely the best. That's the one that knots that's been tested very strong. 3 anchor points, I don't know if my friend tested, but it'll be good. 3 trees, super bomber knot, probably with our guesstimated testings about 80%, or maybe a little more, 85%, so it's good. Now what I'm going to do is follow the rope all the way back through so it comes out the top. This would be like finishing the double figure 8 knot. So it will go all the way through, around, and back out the top. So now you can see I've finished my triple figure 8, or my figure 8 with 3 tails. There's 1 tail, 2 tails, 3 tails. Okay, that's what the knot looks like when it's finished. Which looks like a crazy fat figure 8 knot, and I always like to throw on the double fisherman's backup knot, and that's just a tail of slack to the end of the rope. I used a little bit too much rope, but hey, no big deal. Now this rope would lead up for the climb and should be on the top of your flaked pile of rope, so it pulls nicely up, no kinks.